Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Shay Brady, and I have a special guest alongside me to preview the All-Ireland quarterfinals in the Football Championship of 2022. John McMahon from the JMac Podcast. John, it's been a while now since we've had the traditional quarterfinals. We messed around a bit with the Super 8s and everything like that, but quarterfinal weekend for me was always a weekend to have on the calendar as one that I always really look forward to. And this weekend, my God, the pairings we have is some of these are going to be epic.
Come on, Seamus. Thanks a million for having me on the show. Absolutely delighted to be on. You're doing great work, so it's great to be on. And fair play, my man. No, look, this is what it's all about, my man. All Ireland quarterfinal weekend. This is what you sign up for. This is what you pay the tickets for. This is why we've an interest in the GAA, man. It's going to be unbelievable this weekend. Maybe barring the Dublin Cork game, you have three absolutely mouth-watering games to look forward to this weekend. It all starts Saturday evening. Obviously, Derry, Clare, that's going to be a mouth-watering game. I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. Dublin, Cork, I think we know the winners of that before even talking about it, really. Sunday is just going to be an unbelievable day of football. Like, oh, man, I'd love to be going to, I think, 60,000 people expected. I was saying to Aaron earlier on, our Prendergast from GAA Fan TV, like you're looking at 125,000 people coming into the gates, 4 million payday for the GAA as well. And look at maybe that's another this conversation. Are the players going to be seeing any of that 4 million? Be interesting to see. But it's going to be a great weekend, my man, and we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to go right into the mouth-watering game. Of course, Kerry Mayo, the history between these two. I mean, the finals that they've contested, I mean, never really close, any of the finals between these two counties. 04 and 06 were blowouts. But then, since then, there's been some epics. I mean, the 2011 semi-final was one that I really liked, kind of an underrated game between the two. Then you have the Battle of Limerick, the two games there, you know, the extra time, that Mayo fan that managed to take on the entire Stewart and team on his own. 2017 was a classic as well. Those two games with Aidan O'Shea, Mark and Donaghy, the history between these two counties. And now coming into this, Mayo have really had a weird year, I think. I mean, up until the league final, they were being hyped for their performances and they still have Cillian O'Connor to come back. And then the league final, Kerry just took them apart bit by bit. David Clifford just showed us all how scarily good he is. And then they get knocked out by Galway. They've come back through the qualifiers. It's a weird one. Do you think they'll be confident going into this game?
Look, my man, Mayo. Like, I think they'll be confident going into absolute anything because they're an absolute team of warriors where you really have to give them credit for it. But look, you kind of have to take the year we kind of seen from them so far. You know, against Kildare, they were absolutely bang average in that game. Against Monaghan, you know, in the round 2 game, just really poor. So far they haven't been good, but no better team to up the ante for this weekend. You know, it's going to be a huge test for them. As I was saying earlier on, you know, all the pressure is going to be on Kerry to win the All-Ireland this year. All the pressure is going to be on them to win this weekend, and that'll suit the Mayo lads down to the absolute ground. So look, I think it'll not take much encouragement for the Mayo lads to get up for this game. I think they'll be absolutely bouncing off the walls for it. You know, you're kind of hearing talk who's going to pick up Mr. David Clifford. You know, as you were kind of saying, he's probably one of the best players of our generation at the minute. He's a class act. So look, I think Mayo will be absolutely loving the hype and buzz going into this game. There are a different breed of people up there. They take the football so seriously. The fans are just, you know, brilliant fever pitch fans, and not much can talk coming from the Kerry camp at the minute. Obviously, Jack O'Connor, a very Yera interview during the week with David Clifford. Like, is he going to be fit for the game? You know, this weekend. I think Jacko was just kind of dismaying any comments, and sure he is, and he might, and you know, give us a bit of a definite answer. Jack would be much appreciated, but of course we weren't going to get that. But a lot of talk coming into it. Kerry camp's always going to be quiet. A couple of weeks since the months of final, Kerry haven't been tested so far this year. So look, it has the absolute makings of a classic game once again. I hope it lives up to the billing. I know, you know, Kerry are going in severe favourites, and I think that suits Mayo down to the absolute ground, my man.
Yeah, and the point you made about who best to up the ante, I mean, over the last 10 years, 2017 is my favourite example. I mean, they got knocked out of Connacht. They go into the qualifiers. Cork nearly beat them. Derry takes them to extra time. They have a bit of a weird game against Clare. They sneak through to the final against Dublin. And then they give, in my opinion, the best Dublin team I've ever seen was 2017. They give that Dublin team the best game that team ever had, and Dublin win with a late Dean Rock free. And I didn't see a performance like that coming from Mayo. And they should have won that final. Of all the years, that was the one, in my opinion, that they absolutely should have won. Lee Keegan got that goal with 10 minutes to go. And I was thinking, there's no way they lose this now. And they found a way. Whereas going into this game against Kerry now, they have to up the ante now. They don't get an easy quarterfinal where they can sneak through. They have to up the ante now, because Kerry will knock them out in a heartbeat. Kerry would love to knock out Mayo. There's so much history between those two sides. And over the last 2 years, apart from the league final, Mayo have relatively stood up to them. I mean, you think about the league final in 2019, Mayo beat Kerry in Croke Park that time. And it was a massive victory for Mayo, as in beating Kerry in a final in Croke Park. Psychologically, that gave them a massive boost. But psychologically is an interesting angle, I think, to look at this game. You've got Pádraig O'Hara was put on toast by David Clifford in that game. Other defenders that Mayo had a terrible day as well. Paul Ganey was fantastic, Paddy Clifford. So coming into this game, how do you think the Mayo psyche is going to be? Do you think they're going to be more with a chip on the shoulder, or do you think they're going to be more remembering the last game and a bit nervous of it happening again?
Look, the big thing from that, that league final, that happened a couple of months ago, that will not be repeated again. I think that's the big thing going around at the minute. Mayo will not repeat that performance. They know they can't repeat that performance, as you rightly said. Kerry will take them to the absolute cleaners. Kerry will laugh at them, as David Clifford was doing in that league final. They will just, they'd munch up that performance if it's happened again. So look, Mayo will need, and no better team, no better man than James Horan that can spruce them up. They'll have a completely different change in intensity. They know they can't leave David Clifford one-on-one inside. Whoever has, I think O'Hara will get the job of doing that again, because I think O'Hara will learn so much from the league final. And I think O'Hara will literally be saying to O'Hara, round two, let's see how we get on this time. If it doesn't go well, obviously change it up. But I think I have a funny feeling he'll go back on him again. We'll wait and see Sunday. Everyone will be keeping eyes on that. But look, I think, as I keep saying it, all the pressure is on Kerry this Sunday. Mayo will love that. But look, will they have enough down the final stretch? Mayo's forwards haven't been firing. O'Connor wasn't great the last day. And I don't even think Mayo have the personnel to bring off the bench as well. So look, as I said to Aaron earlier on, I really do think when it comes down to the stretch, like, all the signs are pointing towards a Kerry win. But look, you just never know with this Mayo team. They drag stuff out of the out of nowhere. If Kildare were clinical in the last day out, clinical up front, and maybe, I don't know I know the keeper's had a few brain farts. Kildare probably should have won, and that's the bottom line. And obviously, people weren't giving Kildare much of a chance. So I think, look, Mayo, their intensity, they will absolutely love to play in a game like this on Sunday. But I do think, as I said earlier on, if Kerry have all Ireland credentials, Jack O'Connor wants to prove a point. Kerry need to have a big win on Sunday. Yes. Because it's about time for a big win in Croke Park. It's been a while since I had a big win in Croke Park, so let's see what you're made of, Kerry.
Yeah, no, this is the one to prove it. And then, of course, like, they'll be going the hard way too. Of course, same draw as Dublin. Like, that could be an epic going in against Dublin in the semi-final, presuming that Dublin beat Cork and they get past Mayo.
Presumed to get by Cork.
But have to be humble. But no, like, coming into this game, obviously, you talked about the fitness and the potential players Mayo have on the bench. If Mayo are to win this game, how do you think is best for them to go about it? You're talking the likes of Aidan O'Shea. Where does he fit into this? Does Jordan Flynn come back in to partner Matthew Ran in midfield? Fitness of key players. Is Cillian O'Connor fully fit? Like, how do Mayo go about beating Kerry?
Oh, look, it's a mammoth task. It's an absolute mammoth task. And, we've kind of seen Kerry, the form that they've had kind of so far this year as well. Like, they've been absolutely unbelievable. So I think, look, it's a huge task for the Mayo lads this Sunday. There is a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And I know that talk about alone there, you could dedicate a podcast where Aidan O'Shea plays this Sunday. Half forward, centre half forward, where he's going to be most effective. Do you bring him on? Maybe when the chips are down for Mayo, do you bring Aidan O'Shea? Probably if the chips are down on Sunday, you could maybe see him sprung from the bench. But I've seen a good point here on the week. I think it was David Brady was saying that, look, you start your best players, and maybe, there is a starting place for Aidan O'Shea. But look, I feel sometimes that Mayo's play can be quite slowed down when Aidan O'Shea's play, and he can play a lot quicker. You see when he was taken off against Dublin in the semi-final last year, Mayo did kind of start making hay. So I do feel at times he does slow the play up a bit. Jordan Flynn, he's been very good so far this year as well. But I just think Kerry probably seemed to have the stronger bench and the stronger firepower up front. So really, look, I think, is there a way Mayo can go with this? Look, I just think it's Mayo's absolute brutality, intensity, 100% every game. But what I'm kind of saying is, I said it the last couple of weeks ago as well, Mayo, their backs, Lee Keegan, Park O'Hara, Oisin Mullen, I think they'll be too focusing on the likes of Paddy O'Shea, Sean O'Shea, Paddy Clifford, Paul Geaney. So I don't think they'll nearly have time to run up the field and get the scores that Mayo will need. So I think that's a huge point. That'll take it with 5 or 6 points away from Mayo because Lee Keegan's been the saving grace for Mayo the last couple of games. I think he'll be too focused on the Kerry forward. So that's worth a couple of points alone,
Yeah, and then on the flip side, you've got Gavin White there. I mean, in my opinion, Mayo don't have a wing forward who's going to do a job on Gavin White the way that the Kerry forwards will keep Lee Keegan back. Do you get me?
Yeah.
I feel like Kerry have more match winners in every line of the field than Mayo do. Mayo's defenders are magnificent, don't get me wrong. And when the likes of Owen McLaughlin take flight, like he's a serious weapon there at wing back. But I just think Kerry's forwards, they're more match winners in that forward line than I think any forward line since Dublin in 2017. So me personally, I'm going for Kerry to win this. I'm going to say 4 or 5 points. I think Mayo will give them a good battle. I can see it being very 2019-esque against Dublin, not necessarily a third quarter blitz, but I can see Mayo putting in a great first half performance and then just kind of running out of steam in the second half, and Kerry just put on the burners a bit and pull about 5 points of clear and then see out the victory. That's what I'm going for. But Mayo can beat anyone if it's not an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, no, 100%. Everything but the big day. You definitely 100% give Mayo a chance this Sunday. But I just think now is the time for this Kerry team to deliver. There's so much talk. The Kerry camp has been so quiet. Jack O'Connor just gave like a couple of seconds interview during the week. He's saying absolutely diddly squat. So, the pressure's on. It's All Ireland or nothing up there. I had Shane Enright on my podcast last year, and he was just All Ireland or nothing. The pressure's on for Kerry this year. So now's the time to deliver. Sunday's an ideal opportunity to open up the wings a bit, spread the wings, and go at this Mayo team. Mayo have been informed, but look, it's just like Mayo to turn up the books. But look, it's time for Kerry, to show up or shut up kind of thing. So look, a Kerry win, but will it be handsome? I'm not sure, but they should, as you rightly said, 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, and look, Mayo would never cease to amaze me in terms of like, this is the type of game where they could turn up, but I'm just going with Kerry just because of the absolute
the home stretch. Yeah, the home stretch. Yeah. I think it just seems to be in the last couple of games. Don't get me wrong. God, it just feels like we're just going to repeat ourselves. But I just think Mayo, last couple of games, they haven't had the firepower. So I think when the game's tight, I'm just not sure, as good as O'Keelan O'Connor is, I'm just not sure will Mayo have the quality to win the game for them. I think they'll have everything else. They might have the matchups absolutely correct, but I just think when it comes to the getting the ball over the bars, the kind of the saying goes, I just don't Mayo will have the same sort of quality as Kerry do. Kerry do of that, and they should be getting the victory. I think the only thing to stopping Kerry this weekend might be nerves. Everything else should be fine. They should be good to go.
Yeah, 100%. So then moving on after that game, I think in terms of if we're talking that Mayo Kerry is definitely the biggest game of the weekend, I actually think you could argue the most interesting game of the weekend is Galway Armagh.
Yeah.
This could actually turn out to be the best game to watch because it's two teams that play such attacking football. I mean, since Pádraig Joyce came in, of course, he's been forced now to play a bit of a more defensive. He's got John Daly who kind of sweeps there from centre back. But it was very clear when he came in that he wanted to play this expansive football with the likes of Shane Walsh, Damien Comer, right to the fore. Armagh as well are just a joy to watch this season. Rory Grugan, Stephen Campbell from centre forward pulling the strings. Reen O'Neill as well is an absolutely incredible footballer. Him and Jarlath O'Byrne in particular against Tyrone were immense. This game, these two sides, Galway haven't been to an All-Ireland semi-final since 2018. Armagh haven't been to an All-Ireland semi-final. I don't think, I can't remember the last time. It was 2006, a long time.
It's been a while.
They played Kerry in that quarter-final. I think I think it's 2003. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 2003 because I know they lost in the quarterfinals to Kerry in 06. I know they lost to Wexford in 08.
Yeah,
I don't think they've been back close since. But it's a massive day for Armagh potentially to make a semi-final. And going into this game, both these sides, I don't think they'll play. I think they'll play with nothing to lose, and that could make for one hell of a game.
Oh no, look, big man, it's going to be a terrific game on Sunday. Phil, you're just kind of hoping that it is a shootout, hoping that there's lots of scores, and that neither team can set up defensively as well, because that'd be a bit of a disaster. I know where Armagh could have the potential to do that. I can't see that from a Galway point of view. I'd be very surprised, Croke Park. But no, it has the absolute makings of a shootout, and let's hope so, because you're looking at Damien Comer, you're looking at Shane Walsh, you're looking at Subi Campbell, you're looking at Rian O'Neill, some of the best forwards in Ireland at the minute, James. So look, I think from that point of view, it'll be so good. And you're just hoping, like, it's all well and good us kind of saying, you're hoping Shane Walsh, Comer, you're hoping that they actually go and do it. I think there's so much buzz and talk with Shane Walsh as potentially being one of the best players in Ireland at the minute. It's time maybe for him to kind of, okay, don't get me wrong, it's not for me or you to say about Shane Walsh, but let's see him in Croke Park. Let's see him in an All-Ireland quarter-final. The stage is set. We know left foot, right foot. We don't even know what his good foot is. Is that good? So I think the stage is set for that man to just take it on Sunday and just go at that Armagh defence. I know the Armagh defence is kind of moving quite well at the minute, and we're getting a very good system set at the back there. But I think the stage is set beautifully for Shane Walsh to say, right, lads, I'm here, baby.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's going to get some definitely special treatment. I can see Aidan Forker going on to him straight away. And I can see him being kind of double marked, swept back on quite a few times. Interesting enough, if you were in the Galway camp, would you have a plan for Ethan Rafferty? And if so, how would, because that's a weapon that Armagh come with, that not a lot of teams come with, that you actually have to watch out for Ethan Rafferty potentially scoring from play.
Yeah, the piece of Ethan Rafferty is very good, and he's been so effective. But the one little thing on that is, will we be seeing him venturing out the pitch in Croke Park All-Ireland quarter-final as important? I know he's doing the last couple of games, maybe when Armagh were doing comfortable, but it's hard to know, will he be as ballsy? I know Rory Beggan done it fine in Croke Park last year, but he could have been caught out a couple of times. So look, it's a huge game. No doubt McGeeney's on his case to say, right, Ethan, I know you play outfield generally. Don't be taking any chances on Sunday, because it's a huge game. Maybe when the game's very close, he might try to get up the field, have his party piece. But look, regarding, I can't see him being, don't get me wrong, you prove me wrong, I can't see him being as boisterous or going up the field, because I think it's too much an important game. I think the other games that he was playing in, the likes of the Donegals, he was coming out the field a lot more, maybe when Armagh had the game wrapped up. But I think this Sunday, it's a different kettle of fish. Galway have very, very pacey forwards as well. So I think you'd be more fooled him to kind of be taking chances. But look, he's had a savage year, man.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is anyone who's saying, oh, well, he played in Croke Park against Dublin. No, he didn't. In that league game, Blaine Hughes was in goal. And Armagh only introduced Rafferty as the year went on in goal. So he hasn't even had the experience of playing a goal in a league match when it didn't necessarily mean as much. Interesting enough, against Dublin, Armagh put Rian O'Neill right in the square now, and they were kicking long diagonal ball into Rian O'Neill, and they were hitting it fast and they were hitting it early, and they identified that the Dublin defence was quite vulnerable to this. The Galway defence has conceded massive scores throughout this championship. I mean, they conceded 120 to Roscommon in that league final. Are they looking at this and thinking, if you're in the Armagh camp, would you be going more back to that Dublin approach of, let's get Jason Duffy and Rian O'Neill in there and let's ping the ball into them early and fast, and let's test out the inside markers there, especially like a young Jack Glynn, All-Ireland quarter-final, big stage. If they get a Jason Duffy in there on him, or an Aidan Nugent, who, of course, he took Peter Tague to the cleaners in that game against Tyrone when the pressure was on young Tague. So do you think Armagh might go back more to that approach?
Yeah, no, it will be very, very interesting. I think that would definitely work, and no doubt Kieran McGeady and no better man Kieran Donaghy to be setting up an attacking approach for Sunday. the chances are definitely there because we have seen that Galway backline being exploited time and time again and big scores being put up against them. So, look, Ray O'Neill's role on Sunday will be very interesting because I think Croke Park, he was brilliant against yourselves back in February, January. That time you played each other, he was brilliant. So, we'll be very interested to see where he floats about. It could be everywhere. It could be midfield, it could be full back at times, it could be full forward, anywhere. So, it'll be very interesting to see that to keep him in and around the house. But then again, All Ireland quarter final, a player like him will need to take the game by the scruff of the neck. As the, I think Sean Cavanagh would nearly remind me of that kind of playing ever full forward, midfield, half or getting up and down the pitch. He was so pivotal to Tyrone in years gone by. So that's a player that kind of came into my head there. Similar type of leadership role as Ray O'Neill would have for Armagh. So I think we'll see O'Neill all over the place. But as you rightly said, leave him inside. Make Haywood the sunshine and big man like himself. Said to take a score, so it will be very interesting. I think Stupid Campbell, a lot of people seem to be sleeping on him as well. He when he stretches his legs, he's both feet. He's a great player. He's been flying for Armagh so far this year. So I think Armagh can definitely punch a lot of holes in that Galway defence, and there's huge opportunities there on Sunday, man.
Yeah, 100%. In this. Right, I think personally for both these teams to win, I think Armagh need to go more back to the kicking game that they had against Dublin. I think, look, Stephen Campbell was brought in primarily because he's brilliant at carrying the ball. He's brilliant at getting on it and moving it from defence to attack. Whereas in Croke Park, they hit Dublin quick, they hit them fast, they hit them early. Long balls from, I think it was Ben Creeley hit a long one into Rian O'Neill. I think it could have been Jason Duffy that fired that one into him. It was quick, it was direct. Jarlath Burns and Conor Mackin held the wings. They ran down from the wings. Jarlath in particular was very effective at doing that. So it'll be interesting if they continue with Stephen Campbell in that role, or do they go back to Rory Grugan at centre forward and have him firing the balls into Rian O'Neill and maybe bring Campbell on as the game goes on. Similarly for Galway, I would actually say they need to do the same thing. You've mentioned about Armagh's defensive structure. The best way to beat that is not to let them get back to set it up. Get Shane Walsh in there. Get him right close to goal with Aidan Forker, who, by the way, doesn't play fullback for his club. So get Forker in there close to the goal. I think personally, kick passing is the way to win this game. And with the momentum I think that Armagh have, I find myself kind of going for Armagh in this game. I think they've had a more impressive route through to this game, in my opinion, than Galway have. I know Galway beat Mayo and Roscommon and won Connacht, but I think Armagh beating Donegal and Tyrone back-to-back, while Galway have been standing there twiddling thumbs waiting for the quarterfinals to happen. I think Armagh have more momentum going into this game, and I think they're going to win it. Yeah, no, that's a massive point on it. And as well as that, like Galway maybe haven't been overly tested, probably came up against probably one of the weaker Mayo teams. I think obviously, I know maybe Donegal might be on the way down, and that was a great win for them against Tyrone. Tyrone are down 2 this year, but no, I think it's a massive chance for Armagh on Sunday. But look, I think Galway definitely have the players to keep them within the game as well. But no, I think, look, I know I said it I was on the podcast before this, and I kind of did go with Galway, but again, your mind's going to be changed so much before now and then. So it's a very hard game to call, my man. Very hard game to call. But I might just stick with Galway, because I kind of said about the Croke Park experience Galway have had in recent years as well, and that might serve them dividends down the end. So it's going to be so cagey, but I might just kind of have to stick with Galway because it wouldn't have to cross my words, Oh no, this is by far and away the hardest one to call. I think it's Kerry are overwhelming favourites against Mayo, even though that's a massive game. Dublin are massive favourites against Cork, and Derry are massive favourites against Clare. This one is the one where it's so 50-50. Both these sides have such obvious reasons as to why they could win. You've got Shane Walsh, Rian O'Neill, Damien Comer, Rory Grugan. They both are stacked, and they're both coming from position. They're getting better and better.
It'll be great to see Rory Grugan in Croke Park as well. I think Croke Park suits him. He loves that expansive kind of football. He's a left foot to absolute die for. So if you're nearly kind of looking for a player to watch, like there's Christ bless and save us. There's so many good players to watch this weekend. But I think Rory Grugan, he's a magician when he gets the ball in his feet. Yeah.
So Galway for you. And Armagh for me.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean.
It's hard to know what I'm nearly basing that on,
Yeah, I'm more kind of basing it on the fact, I genuinely mean this, I'm basing this on the fact that Galway have been sat there waiting for someone to come through, and Armagh have been smacking everyone while Galway have been sitting there waiting. Now, look, Galway could have been training,
but
there
there's
could have
that
been
suit
practice
Galway,
matches, there
though.
could
There's
have been
that suit
everything.
Galway, yeah.
Well, there could be everything.
There's
And then
that yeah.
there's the unknown as well. If Rian O'Neill gets a red card in the first 10 minutes, if Shane Walsh pulls a hamstring in the first 15 minutes, that could change the game.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to call, but one of us will be wrong anyway. Maybe
no doubt.
Maybe be a draw. But
if you can't go with anything else, go with a draw. Always back the draw. Good odds not do it.
No, 100%. Moving on then, next quarter final in terms of, so we've gone most competitive and now we're at Derry versus Clare. And this one for me is, you said it there earlier, I think it's going to be a lot tighter than people think, because Derry coming into this are the story of the summer. No getting by that. They beat Tyrone, the All-Ireland champions, in Healy Park in Armagh. They beat them by 11 points. Then they beat Monaghan in a game where they rack up, I think, 3 goals they scored. Benny Heron hit 2. Like, they looked brilliant that day as well. And then they beat Donegal in what was a weird Ulster final, but definitely tense and definitely exciting in a different way. Now they come into this quarterfinal against a Clare team, which have just produced one of the shocks of the summer, beating Roscommon, who were, hotly tipped to at least make the quarterfinals. And now, though, the Croke Park factor for me is key here. Croke Park factor, I mean, the example I'll give is the Kildare-Dublin game. Kildare beat Dublin in Newbridge and get torn limb from limb against Dublin in the Leinster final. Croke Park is a massive factor. Do you think Derry will be able to translate their success in the Ulster grounds, playing this defensive football, to Croke Park? Because remember, Clare beat Roscommon in Croke Park, so they have a good experience now this summer built up in Croke Park. How much do you think Derry can translate their system to Croke Park?
Yeah, I suppose that's the interesting point on it. And I know, obviously, like I was saying earlier on, the Derry lads, Derry team have an absolutely unbelievable panel of players. And I don't even think, I think they should have enough in their armory to not go defensive in this game. I think they should even go man-to-man, 15v15, if that's the way Clare obviously want to go about the game as well. I think Derry don't nearly need to kind of set up defensive. I think they can really kind of go at this game and kind of believe in the football system that they have. The biggest point on this is, in the Ulster final, piping hot day, I think it was a couple of minutes, to go in extra time, and Derry were just running up the field, so much legs, they could just run all day. So that was seriously impressive in itself. So I think their transition from breaking out defense is really, really good. And they just have constant runners, and the forwards up the other end of the field to do the damage. And we know about the powers of, Christy McCaig. I just don't think he'll get that stiff of a test this Saturday. I know obviously Clare are very good forwards in Tubridy and Cleary, and there is lots of quality there, but I just think that there'll be stiffer tests down the lines in the likes of your All-Ireland semi-finals, your All-Ireland finals. So I think Saturday will be a good test for this Derry team. Rory Gallagher 100% will be taken game by game. It'll be a different sort of game to the games they played in Ulster. I don't think they will need to go to defensive against this Clare team. I know they played them in Division 2, and obviously they had good stiff tests against them. But I think Derry should have enough, to go just a nice game of football, if you want to kind of call it like that, not kind of, get every man behind the ball. If they want to do that, fair enough. But I think, Derry have the talent pool, to get over the line, but it'll not be, I can't see it being droll and negative, and maybe the last couple of games, maybe Derry kind of played in the last couple of in the Ulster Championship. But no, it'll be a nice open game of football, I feel. Two teams be absolutely delighted to be in Croke Park, playing their style of football. I think from the Clare point of view, a great game against Roscommon. I think they're very, very good. It was a very heroic sort of performance. In fairness, no one expected them to win. They got over the line. Colin Collins deserves huge credit for where he's brought that panel of players. So you're just hoping for a nice game of football, Shay.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the things that I looked into that game now against Roscommon was they were coming into that game very much how they're coming into this game, being slept on by everyone. No one thinks that they're going to win. Roscommon drew with Derry in the league, remember? So, I mean, on paper, you would say, well, Clare probably will fancy their chances to cause another shock, but no, this for me is where the road ends. I think Derry are just in too good a position, and they have too much momentum. They believe in themselves so much. Conor Glass, Shane McGuigan, Brendan Rodgers was amazing in that Ulster final.
Class.
Chrissy McCaig. Garrett McKinless is another one at centre back that I just think is immense. So they're coming into it with too much. Yeah. So
brilliant players, yeah.
Brilliant players. And the momentum that they're coming with, and this is a side that was in Division 4 in 2018. So like the momentum that they've come with, or they were relegated to Division 4, but around that time, they beat Leitrim in that Division 4 final. They've just gone up and up. They've got so much better. So, look, going into this, I think Clare, this is where the road ends for me. And I think Derry, on the flip side of that, I think Gallagher has All-Ireland aspirations. I really do. I think he thinks they should go.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, they've beaten Tyrone, the All-Ireland champions, away from home by 11 points. If any other team had done that, we'd be saying All-Ireland contenders. So, look, coming into this, I'm saying Derry will use this. This is my other prediction, as well as Derry winning. I think Derry will use this game to try and tweak the style that they have a little bit to suit the defensive game, but also to suit Croke Park, because they'll be going into the semi-final then against either Armagh or Galway, two very good attacking teams.
And then they can go back to them tactics. Yeah.
You will have had a game to get used to Croke Park. So I think Derry will tweak the system a little bit in this game against Clare to prep for further games.
Yeah. 100%. Like, and as well as that, I don't think, like, don't get me wrong, it's not a quarter final, but Derry, I don't think they'll have to be, I suppose, how do I can best describe this? I don't think they'll have to be fully top of the pops. I don't think they'll need to bring the same maybe intensity as they would have had to bring to like the Donegal game, the Monaghan game, to have that right, did play Monaghan, and the other games. I don't think they'll have to bring that sort of spice to Saturday, because I think they'll have to save themselves down the line. And as you probably rightly said, this probably is the end of the Clare journey. But look, I can honestly see Clare giving them lots of it as well. I think they should, have a lot of confidence coming in from that Roscommon game as well. That's a very strong Roscommon team there as well. And obviously, Clare Clare did obviously play very well in that game. We didn't expect it from them. And obviously, Collins will be delighted. It's a shot to nothing. The winner gets to an All-Ireland semi-final. The card at the end of the stick is there, Shay. So, look, it's going to be a big game. It'll be hopefully a nice game. But I don't think, realistically, I don't think Derry will have to get out of third gear, because it's... I just feel the bigger fish to fry. I think Rory Gallagher, I know by him, he looks so driven this year. And as you rightly said, they bet the All-Ireland champions last year by 11 points. Any other team that done that this year, we'd be talking big things. So Kerry done that. We'd be talking to the Hills about it. If Dublin done that, we'd be talking all day about it. So, I think Derry probably are building something there. If it's not All-Ireland this year, maybe next year. But look, I think there's big things coming with this Derry team. Rory Gallagher looks very, very hungry, my man.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does. I mean, that fist bump that he gave on the sideline when they got that goal against Monaghan, he looked like he was about to lift off the ground itself.
Different gravy.
Yeah. No, you could see the passion. So we're about saying Derry. The final quarter-final then is Dublin versus Cork. So Dublin coming into this throughout the championship now, I think Dublin are in a better position than they were last season. I mean, yes, the relegation, disaster, but...
Do you feel they're playing for Desi Farrells? Do you feel the buy-ins there, Shay, compared to last year?
I feel we're in a better place than we were last year. I do. I feel like there's more of a humbling.
Okay.
We've been humbled now. We've been beaten. And I think more of the kind of hard work rate has come back into the team. I feel like Con O'Callaghan coming back in has had a huge impact. And now... Look, more of the players are buying in, I think. The Mayo game last season was a real showcase for that there was a bad feeling in the camp. I mean, right at the end of the game, when you have players like James McCarthy completely losing the rag at the end of the game.
James McCarthy,
Yeah. So I think there's more of a happy atmosphere around the camp this season. I think there actually is more of a buy-in from the players because Desi has allowed them to attack more. Last season was infuriating watching Dublin. Our style was literally to keep teams in the game. We were destroying Mayo for 40 minutes and we were only 4 points ahead or 5 points ahead.
Yeah.
I'm saying the 2019 Dublin team would have had 15 points on Mayo by that point. So, I think the fact that he is attacking more, he has gained more buy-in from the players because they're enjoying their football again and they're enjoying playing this football again. They've blown Kildare out of the water in that Leinster final. They've blown Wexford out of the water, Meath out of the water. They absolutely blew them to bits. And I think we're going to do the same to Cork. I'm saying it now. I think it's another high-scoring Dublin performance. I think 25 points plus. We've done it to Meath. We've done it to Wexford. I think we're going to do it to Cork as well. I'm saying Dublin comfortably. I think Cork will put up a good score as well. I think Cork will play like they've nothing to lose because they don't have anything to lose. I think it's going to be another 2019.
It's a shot to nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's another 2019 Super 8 style game. I think Dublin win it handsomely enough, but Cork put up a good performance. The likes of Stephen Sherlock show how good he is, but Dublin to win for me.
I probably echo a lot of that, my man. And obviously, you being a Dublin supporter, you'll probably be glad, But the one thing I suppose, Aaron Prendergast of GAA Fan TV tweeted, kind of saying that, I just don't think it's a brilliant draw for Dublin because they're going to learn zilch from the game. As you rightly said, I think they will take Cork to the cleaners. They probably would have been better off getting the likes of Mayo or Galway maybe in the first, the quarter final, because they would learn so much more from themselves. They're going to learn zilch on Saturday, man. Like, you'll probably hear the seagulls tipping about at Croke Park. You'll hear conversation with people will be planning their pints after the game. It'll be that sort of vibes from Saturday, my man, unfortunately. And that's the way it's going to go. We've seen this so many times. We've seen Dublin give a lot of teams patience. But look, I don't know if there's any learnings from this game. Maybe let's see how maybe the Dublin backline is going to be setting up. The form of Brian Fenton, watching out for the main lads, Conor Gallagher, who else is inside there, Dean Rock, all them boys kind of moving inside. Maybe if any young lads watching on, a bit of forward movement. I think that's all people might be able to learn. But no, a convincing Dublin win, I'd imagine, barring some absolute calamity by Dublin, which I can't see. Cork side of things, Brian Hurley, Stephen Sherlock up front. Look, a big thing for this is Cork, the learnings from it is, right, we want to get back to All-Ireland quarterfinals. We want to get back to All-Ireland semi-finals. This is the standard we want to be at. They have to start getting up through the divisions. They have to start getting buy-in from players. They have to, whatever it is, they need to get the best players in Cork playing for the Cork team. The likes of the Nemo Rangers and the Bars lads, they need to get the buy-in from the lads to maintain a good senior team, because Cork have been the doldrums for far too long. All-Ireland final appearance 2010. That's far too long for the population the size of Cork, Shay. So it's time for Cork to kind of get back. This is a step on that ladder. Don't get me wrong. I know the plans are in place. They've good underage, but it's time for lads to start buying in, playing for Cork, because they've been in the wilderness for far too long, Shay.
Yeah, definitely. And no All-Ireland semi-final appearance since 2012 off the top of my head. So that's Tipperary have been in 2 semi-finals since Cork have been in the last one. 2012, I think they played Donegal in that semi-final. Yeah. But no, in the space...
of course, yes.
So Tipperary have been in 2 semi-finals in the space that Cork have been in none. So that's quite a damning statistic for Cork, and they will need to get the buy-in.
It's telling.
The likes of Sam Ryan was incredible for Finn Bars at cornerback, and haven't seen him at all for Cork. So these lads need to come in. They need to get these lads into the side. Like the likes of Luke Connolly, Mark Collins, Rory Dean. These guys were crucial for Cork over the last 2 seasons.
Them boys leaving,
Yeah, it's hard. It's very similar with Down, even that the amount of players that have left that panel. I think 84 players or something they've used in the last 5 years. It's absolutely insane. How the hell do you build in a mantra, build in a philosophy if every year you've new players? And that seems to be a case with Cork. Every time I watch Cork play Kerry, a player will come up on the screen. I'm like, who's this fella? Like, where'd this guy come from? And don't get me wrong, they have beaten Kerry in 2020, but then Mark Keane goes to Australia. I know he's back, but he wasn't there the next season. The team changes, and for Cork,
but that win at 20, but
yeah, no, I know it was a fluke. Like
the win in 2020, the win, it was a fluke, and there was a lot of it was a COVID year. There was no crowds. David Clifford, the master himself had a bit of an off day, radial day. I think it was a bit of a blip, a massive blip by the Kerry lads. So I think regarding that, but no, I really do think Saturday hopefully Will can leapfrog them. Like even just the Croke Park experience alone. I know Dublin, the powerhouse that Dublin is, and it'll not be a good experience maybe result-wise, but I just think it'll be a good test, right? This is where we want to be. The preparation, Croke Park, Saturday, All-Ireland quarter-final. You know, it's time for Cork to start getting back there again.
Yeah, 100%. So we are going Kerry to beat Mayo. We are split on Galway and Armagh. We are going Derry. Yeah, we're going Derry to beat Clare, and we're going with Dublin to beat Cork. Should be all pretty entertaining games to watch for different reasons. Ones will be shootouts, one will be battles to the end, and one would be a real new feeling in that halftime match. A real novel pairing in an All-Ireland quarter-final, 100%. So, Johnny Mac, thank you very much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
No worries, man. Absolute pleasure. You're doing great work, and we'll touch base soon, my man. Enjoy the weekend.
You too. All right, guys, that is the episode here on Play on GAA. Keep tuned for the next one, and until that one, take care.